Okay, if you're a researcher, you know this feeling, right? You're staring at a blank page, you've got a mountain of data, and this huge, daunting task of writing your very first academic paper. It's exciting, sure, but let's be real, it's also terrifying. Well, in this explainer, we've pulled together advice from top academics and publishers to give you a clear, step-by-step roadmap. Our goal? To help you turn that fear into a paper you can be proud of. Let's dive in. First things first, let's just get this out in the open. Getting published is hard, really hard. Rejection rates for the big journals can be absolutely brutal. So that feeling of dread you might have, yeah, that's completely normal. As the folks at Elsevier say, it's a shared experience. So if you're feeling that pressure, just know you are not alone. So, what's the secret sauce? How do you actually beat those odds? Well, it's not about being some kind of literary genius. The difference between a paper that gets rejected and one that gets published, it almost always comes down to strategy. And that is exactly what we're here to unpack. This right here is the battle every single researcher faces. You've got the dream of getting published on one side, and the reality of that blinking cursor on a blank page on the other. Professor Pete Carr calls it the fear and trepidation that just paralyzes so many of us, especially with that first paper. And you know where that leads? Straight to our biggest enemy, procrastination. All right, so how do we defeat that blank page? You might think the first step is to start writing the introduction. But you know what? According to the experts, that's actually a recipe for disaster. The most important work you're going to do happens before you even type a single sentence of your paper. It all starts with one thing: finding your research's core story. This slide just lays it out perfectly. You've got two paths. On one side, the common mistake. You try to write your paper from start to finish, from the intro to the conclusion. This almost always ends in frustration. But on the other side, you've got the expert strategy, which researchers like Dr. Alina Ruers swear by. Forget the intro. Your first job is to find your story. And at the very heart of that story is one incredibly powerful concept: the research gap. Now, this isn't just some academic jargon. Trust me, this is your secret weapon. As the coaches at Academic English Now will tell you, if you can master this one concept, you've found the key to writing a paper that really makes an impact. So what is it really? The research gap is the why behind all of your hard work. It's that specific, missing piece in all the existing literature that your research comes in and fills. Think about it. If you can't clearly explain this gap, you can't convince anyone why your paper even needs to exist. And the good news is, these gaps aren't some big mystery. They usually fall into one of four categories. Ask yourself, is your topic just under-researched? Are the studies that already exist all saying different, contradictory things? Are you specifically addressing the flaws or limitations of a previous study? Or are you trying to solve a practical, real-world problem? Figuring out which of these buckets your work fits into is your first huge step forward. Okay, so you've found your research gap. Now it's time to actually write. And to fight off that urge to procrastinate, Professor Pete Carr has this awesome, kind of counterintuitive plan. It's like a writing algorithm that's built to create momentum and just get that first draft done fast. This right here is the golden rule. You have to separate the writer in your head from the editor in your head. They are two different people with two different jobs. Right now, your only mission is to get a complete first draft on the page. We are not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for done. And here's how this brilliant plan works. You don't start with the hard part, the introduction. No way. You start with the easiest part, your method section. You know this stuff cold. Then you move on to your results, just describing what you found, using your figures and tables as an outline. After that, the conclusion. And only when all of that is drafted do you go back and tackle the introduction. Let me just say this one more time, because it is so important. Do not edit while you are writing this first draft. As Professor Carr says, spending 20 minutes perfecting a sentence that you might just delete later is the fastest way to kill your momentum. Just keep writing. Don't look back. And just like that, you have a complete draft. It might be messy, but it's all there. Now, and only now, are you actually ready to write a killer introduction. Why? Because now you finally know what you're introducing. A really great introduction only has two jobs. That's it. First, it has to answer the big "so what" question. Why does the study even matter? And second, it needs to give the reader just enough background so they can follow what you did. And here is where it all comes full circle. Remember that research gap we figured out way back at the beginning? Well, that is the perfect tool to nail job number one.
Your introduction becomes a story that leads the reader right to that missing piece of the puzzle, making your study feel not just important, but completely necessary.
And you can make this crystal clear for your readers. You don't have to be subtle. The experts at Academic English Now suggest using simple, direct language. Phrases like these are like signposts on a highway, pointing your reader exactly where you want them to go, straight to your paper's unique contribution. So you've done the heavy lifting. You've got a draft, a powerful intro, but we're not quite at the finish line. Now it's time to get ready for your most important audience, the peer reviewers. Professor Carr absolutely nails it with this quote. Your first readers aren't the thousands who will hopefully cite your work one day. Nope. Your first readers are the reviewers. They are the gatekeepers. And your number one mission is to make their job as easy as possible. A polished, professional manuscript is your ticket through that gate. So before you even think about hitting that submit button, run through this final checklist. Is your formatting exactly what the journal asks for? Is your cover letter persuasive? Are your figures and citations absolutely perfect? These little details matter a lot. They tell the editors that you're a professional who respects their time. So there you have it. That's the roadmap to a great paper. Find your story, build your momentum, and prepare for the gatekeepers. But here's a final thought, inspired by Professor Carr. Sometimes the best way to learn how to do something right is to study how to do it completely wrong. There's actually a famous satirical article about how to write an awful paper. It's hilarious, but also surprisingly useful. So as you move forward, ask yourself, are you following the roadmap, or are you accidentally falling into one of the classic traps? The choice is all yours.